So what I have here today, I'm gonna test out these little diamond discs, 6-inch diamond disc off of Amazon. It's got a 1/2 inch center. I'm gonna test it on my Worksharp 3000. And the reason I wanna do this is because I normally like a 180 grit to start off with a new blade. I got a blade from a Stanley. This is the new Stanley, like a 90 1260 or something like that. I don't know. I got it for free, but it's a used blade. I can see the factory marks on it, even though it's covered in rust. So it's never been sharpened, it doesn't look like. I don't know what bevel they put on it. I think it's 25 degrees, I'm not sure. All of mine, I put 20 degree, or I put 30 degrees with a 35 degree micro bevel. That way I can just, whenever I have one dull, I can throw it on here with a 3600 grit and just touch the 35 degree micro bevel, and that's all I have to do, and it takes, 30 seconds to do it. But the 120, 180, 240 grit sandpapers, they run out so fast. And over a period of time, they get expensive, especially if you get a new chisel set in, or if you pick up some big chisels that have a 2-inch blade, or a big plane with some really hard steel on it, on the blade. They just run out. So I want to try this. This was $9, diamond plated. It's used for grinding rocks, but it says it can be used with metal. So I'm gonna try it, and it's only like 1.1 or 1.2 millimeter thick. It's 6 inches, 1/2 inch holes. So it fits perfect. And all I'm gonna do is just stick one of these on there, tighten it down. Yeah. So that's what it looks like right now. It's definitely got the factory cut on it. It's got a, dang it, looks like you might have tried to plane a nail with it. I don't know. It's got some pretty big nicks in it. Look on the back. Let's see what it looks like. I'm set at 30 degrees. I absolutely love this Workshop. It's taking it down pretty quick, that's for sure. Yeah, I think it had a 25 degree bevel on it. Machine's square. Yeah, it's put a square edge on it, so from the factory, I don't guess it was a square bevel. It might have had a square edge, but it doesn't look like a square bevel. It's warm, but it's not hot. Taking material off. This is a 240 grit diamond stone. I also ordered a 180 grit, but it hasn't got here yet, and I wasn't willing to wait. Put a pretty good burr on the back. It's taking it down nicely. square. It's not hot. I assume the 180 grit will definitely take a lot more material a lot faster. I can just barely feel that through my gloves. It's not hot. I've tried every kind of sharpening stone, every system, sandpaper, cheap stones, expensive stones, water stones, diamond stones. I've got one nice diamond stone that I keep for blades that are over 2 inches because I haven't made a cabinet for this thing yet. And I have a piece of float glass that with some, I think 4,000 grit sandpaper on it, wet dry sandpaper. Everything else goes through this work sharp, and it saves so much time, it's insane. I mean, I have spent hours trying to get a chisel that I pick up from somebody, or a plane that I buy off of eBay. I spent hours trying to get the blade edge to the correct angle, straight again, doing it by hand. And I was very reluctant to spend the money to buy this machine. I used it for 10 minutes the first day that I got it and had absolutely no problems whatsoever with the amount of money that I spent on it. No regrets, not a one. I'm interested to see how much the diamond disc is building up. See, that's not it. I can't even hardly feel heat through my glove. It's not warm at all. I'm not really putting any pressure on it. I'm letting the wheel do the work. And I'm almost across that factory bevel. If I had that 180 grit, I'm sure it would have already been done. I just want to get rid of that factory bevel. You don't have to. All you need is a clean edge. Square edge. Just barely have a factory bevel left. Now it's going to take a lot longer to do this because that's the last little bit that I'm trying to take off. But in order to get that last little bit, it has to take everything off of this blade to get there. So it takes longer the closer to the end that you get. But this diamond wheel is doing awesome. Man, a lot. If I would have put this blade on a regular 180 piece of sandpaper, the sandpaper would probably already be acting like it was a 220 or a 280 grit. And this thing is cutting the exact same throughout the entire process. Now, what I know for a fact, I have used diamond wheels in the past for other things, and I do not want to go with higher grit wheels because they do leave deeper scratches than using sandpaper. The diamond on there, it's not very forgiving whenever you get up to really high grits from my experience. That's just my opinion. A lot of people will say differently. Just my opinion. Whenever you get over, say 1500 or 1800 grit, I would rather use a wet dry sandpaper. It is almost gone. There it is. See if you can take a look at that. There's no nicks. Let's see what the buildup looks like. Before I do that, let me clean that off. See what the buildup looks like on it. See what it looks like when we go to clean it. So that's what the buildup looks like. It's actually got more than I thought it would on it. I guess this would be the difficult part. It's making sure it's aligned, but as long as it's not hitting your, because the bolt going through it's not a 1/2 inch, so it has nothing holding it in, centering it. But as long as it's not touching your tool post, oh yeah, yeah, cleaned right up, no problem. Yep. Still looks good, doesn't look like it's lost any grit. Yeah, $9 for that. Now this thing's got some pretty deep scratches in it. Let's see what it looks like. Took them out, but I just wonder how well the sandpaper is going to do coming behind it. Yeah, that's pretty flat back right there. I'm happy with that. Let me see if I can get this positioned where you can see it clean up. Look at that. Yeah. Again. Grit looks good. Doesn't look like it had any issues. So let me try. This is a, I think this is a 180 grit that's on here. I'm gonna chase this. See if I can get rid of these scratches. Yeah, they're coming out. But aluminum oxide on these sandpaper discs, it is a lot softer than the diamond. And see, that blade is now hot. Like I can feel actual heat coming off of it. So the difference between that diamond and that sandpaper, when it comes to heat, I would say is a huge difference. Didn't want to do that yet. I'm going to do my edge. That's warmer than it ever was on that diamond plate. I don't know if you can see the scratches on it, but that's 400 grit that I have on the bottom, and it looks like it's taken most of that diamond stone out. Yeah, I'm happy with that. 400 to 800. Now you'll hear this 800 being bumpy because I did not take the silicone spray off as well as I should have. I was just too lazy to do it, and now I gotta listen to this the whole time. Yeah, that looks good. It's 1,000 on top. I don't really care about what gets the burr off or what polishes the back. By the time I get to the end, I'm polishing the back of it and the burr off with 2,000 grit. So I flip-flop back and forth. Whatever grit's on top, that's what I'm using. This is 1,000 grit, and it is a well-used 1,000 grit that needs to be replaced. It's probably got 4 or 5 blades on it. Rough blades. Like putting a new edge on, new angle on, the whole 9 yards. And it looks good. And that blade is still warmer with that 1,000 grit and the 800 grit than it ever was with that diamond. Don't leave me comments about where I need to be putting the blade on this sandpaper. I've seen all the videos. I know what the instructions say. This is how I do it. You do it how you do it. It's getting pretty good. See how dirty that is? But you can see the wore out spots. Now for my final 2,000 grit, followed up with 3,600. And for those of you that have a Work Sharp 3000 and your angle is not coming out, your edge is coming out skewed, it's not coming out square, this little deal right here, adjust that angle. And it does this. There's a screw on the inside. If you look in your owner's manual, or if you look up the owner's manual online, it tells you how to adjust it. But this little lever right here picks it up and down and adjusts that angle. So if you're not getting square, that's why. And every now and then you do have to adjust it, especially if you put a lot of pressure on it. But that's it's not perfect, but it's dang close to perfect. Work Sharp could definitely do a better job with that lever. It's a rudimentary system at best. It is not a very good system to be able to dial this thing into square. they could definitely step up their game in that, on that one part of this machine. They could also fix this freaking squeaking that goes on with it. It's done that since the second or third time that I've started using it. It's always squeaked. I can work on the back later. It doesn't have to be a mirror finish. I mean, it was a free plane. So anything I do to it is better than the guy that gave it to me, what he did to it. It does sell for like $80 online, brand new. It's like an $80 plane. I don't know why. It is heavy. That's a heavy body. And it's got an adjustable mouth. It's a really heavy body plane. Oh yeah. I've never been able to get those swirl marks out of the edge with just 3600 grit. If I put it on a strop, I can get them out. But I'm happy with it. That at 3600 grit, I'm happy with that. It's catching the edge all the way across, which is really all I want. I do love this little machine. I mean, I took a blade that used to would have took me, I don't know, an hour working with plates. Put the right angle with a square edge, the whole 9 yards. It's not bad. All right, now I put 30 degrees on it. Am I going the right direction? Nope, went the wrong direction. This is where it'll tell you if you have a square edge. This right here. If nothing else will tell you, this will tell you. It's darn close. And that's all you got to do for a micro bevel. Then whenever you're using your plane and it gets dull, put it on that 35 degrees. All right. Let's see if you can see that little line at the very top? That's your micro bevel. And if that micro bevel is square, and it's hard to see on this camera. If that micro bevel is square, then your machine is square. Well, no, I can't say that. That doesn't make any sense at all. Because the micro bevel, by the time you get there, should be square to whatever edge you put on it. That's how far unsquare that I am, though. Don't know if you can see it. I can see it. It's a mile deep. But then again, the side of the blade's not exactly straight either. It's got an imperfection or two. So there you have it. You can order these things off of Amazon. They're made by every Chinese dude walking down the street in China. Every sweatshop over there, I assume, is pumping out 3,000 or 4,000 of them an hour. And we're just buying the hell out of them. And this one worked good for what I need it for.